Okay. Welcome back to the live show. You know what time it is. It is your boy Genesis. We are back. Yes, y'all, we are back. Told y'all we're gonna be back. I told y'all we were going to be back. And now we are back. You guys are the best. Thank you for tuning into the live stream. You know what time it is. One more time. Thank you one more time. Okay. Okay, I said one more time like 10 times. Man. Like shit. Okay. It is currently 3:15 p.m. and today's date is the 17th of December 2024. Christmas is 8 days from now. Mhm. I remember the first day of this year. Now we are at the end. Isn't that just amazing? Mhm. Isn't that just amazing? Okay, with that being said, we are going to start the show right about now. How is your day going? Put it in the chat. How is your day going? How is your day going? How is your day going, man? Um, Let me know in the chat. You having a wonderful day? Everything is going on. So many things going on, man. So many things. School shooting, home invasion, Luigi Mangione, Chicago mayor. A lot going on. A lot going on, man. But we're gonna have to just stay positive, okay? Stay positive, people, because these people want to get you. They want to get you with negative vibes, but you ain't gonna let that happen, okay? You are not going to let that happen. They want to get you with low energy, low vibes, but you ain't gonna let that happen, are you? You are not going to let that happen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Tune into the live stream. Thank you for tuning in. Let's get it.
The Chicago City Council narrowly approving Mayor Brandon Johnson's 2025 budget, including a controversial $40 million short-term loan for a city already swimming in debt, all part of a chaotic meeting where residents slammed the mayor.
You caused all this money to go to illegal immigrants. Anything that you all pass is not genuine.
You have not protected the people of Chicago from invasion.
He wants to pour a $40 million line of credit and put the city in even more debt. It's your fault that because you gave half the money to illegals.
Chicago reporter William Kelly joins me now. William, you were inside that budget vote. How embarrassing was this for Mayor Brandon Johnson, even with the budget ultimately passing?
Even after it passed, nobody applauded, Todd. As a lifelong Chicagoan, I love Chicago with all my heart. I'm not a Chicago basher, and I love those people. It brings tears to my eyes, Todd, who came to Chicago City Hall week after week. It took 4 times for this budget to finally pass. $17 billion. These real Chicagoans, they made their.
Why are they trying to take away the sign is holding up? Oh man, we ain't gonna take that. Yeah, we ain't gonna take that. Shout out to Nikki Lee, man.
This is heard. They made it clear they don't trust Brandon Johnson, Mayor Johnson, with 50 cents. Okay, they know he's just going to spend that money on migrants and violent teenagers. Brandon Johnson says it himself, Todd.
You've been coming on this show for years. Your passion for the Windy City is definitely noted during each appearance. You mentioned the migrant. Brandon Johnson, under his tutelage, under his leadership, Chicago has spent $527 million taxpayer dollars on migrants. So my question for you, William, would Mayor Johnson have had an easier time passing a budget if, he didn't spend so much money for illegal migrants at the expense of tax-paying city residents?
Well, that was almost to the penny the amount that Mayor Johnson wanted to raise property taxes on the real people of Chicago. Thankfully, I had the opportunity to call it out as a migrant tax, which motivated people to come to Chicago City Hall and literally shout at the mayor, which I guess is what was necessary. But yet Mayor Johnson still got the votes from his friends and allies in the Chicago City Council. The vice mayor, here's an example of where we're at in Chicago right now, okay, Todd? The vice mayor, a guy named Alderman Burnett, convicted of bank robbery, okay, of armed robbery, spent time in jail. He's a Chicago City alderman. He's getting paid, in addition to his aldermanic salary, for almost $500,000, okay, to be vice mayor, which essentially has absolutely no duties or responsibilities other than waiting to possibly become mayor if something were to happen to Mayor Johnson. So in Chicago, if you really, really, really want to rip off the people of Chicago, don't rob a bank, become an alderman.
That's wild. That is a wild story you just told us. The vote got so heated.
Hey, that's
the
the
mayor
one.
basically cleared out the room, said he didn't want the citizens there. This is their city. They get an opportunity to weigh in on this, and the mayor said, get out. Has Chicago finally reached the tipping point that so many cities and towns, and quite frankly, the United States of America reached in November with the vote, that they're finally going to vote out the Mayor Johnsons, the Mayor Lightfoots, and bring some sanity back to Chicago?
Well, it's an old joke, Todd. Is Chicago ready for reform?
Yeah, they are.
And the fact is that it might just be, because we see this money going to migrants. I did some math myself, okay? Mayor Johnson has 100+ staffers. They're all making six figures. Many of them have become notorious as a result of, at William J. Kelly on X videos where I literally have to chase them down the hallways of City Hall to talk to them. One of them in particular, Kennedy Barkley, is famous for saying F the pigs. Okay, this is what I guess her number one qualification for becoming a Mayor Johnson staffer. Okay, 100+ staffers,
Wow.
six figures apiece, adds up to millions upon millions of dollars out of the pockets of real Chicagoans. Yeah, I think it might be Chicagoans might be ready for some real change, some real reform, Todd.
Yeah, and despite everything you just said, the mayor wants to pay for all that, pay for the migrants, pay for those ridiculous salaries by raising taxes on property. That is why.
There you have it, guys. Chicago may be flipping red. I just dropped a video about how Chicago may be feeling, flipping red. I'm telling y'all, man. No time for BS. Moving forward, nobody has time for BS, okay? If you're a politician, you are supposed to be a public servant. You're not going to come up here and act like you are dictating to the people. You have to sit your head down and listen to the people, okay? Sit down and listen to the people. And what is going on in Wisconsin? What is going on in Wisconsin, guys? What is going on in Wisconsin? Come on, man. We got to do better.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here today. We'll be providing an additional update as we have moved now into the investigation phase of this tragic incident. I'll be making some prepared remarks and will not be taking questions. My name is Chief Sean Barnes, SHONBARNES, and I'm the Chief of Police for the Madison Police Department. The past 24 hours have been a flurry of emotion, sadness, anger, disappointment, grief for the Madison community. We were brought together by a tragedy. And today, 3 families woke up this morning to a world without a loved one. That can never be outdone. In the midst of this tragedy, our community has come together in an incredible demonstration of support from Madison and indeed the state of Wisconsin and our nation. I cannot express enough gratitude to the many emergency response agencies who provided direct support to the Madison Police Department. We could not be standing here today without the men and women of law enforcement, specifically the Madison Fire Department, surrounding EMS agencies, Dane County Sheriff's Office, Monona PD, Oregon PD, the University of Wisconsin Police Department, the ATF, the FBI, Fitchburg Police Department, and Cottage Grove. A special thank you from me to all of these agencies. Thank you so much. These agencies and many others responded to the scene and or took calls for service within the city of Madison to allow us to focus on this tragic incident. Student reunification with their loved ones could not have happened as swiftly as it did without the assistance of SSM Health Dean Medical Clinic, as well as the Quick Trip. Additionally, many people worked well into the night and supported local restaurants, the community who came together and provided food and other logistical support for our team. Yesterday, we came together as one team, as one Madison, as one country, and we should feel incredibly proud about our response. I'll be providing some updates at this time, but before I do that, I'd like to provide an important clarification. Yesterday, after looking at the computer-aided dispatch system, it seems as if a call came from a second grader. It actually read, the call came from a second grade teacher. That was a mistake. That's my responsibility, and I apologize, and I clarify that today. It did not come from a second grader. It read second grade teacher. I will also be providing several investigative updates from the 8 p.m. briefing from last night. The Madison Police Department is committed to transparency and will continue to release information that can be used to improve public safety. This must be balanced against our commitment to the victims of this horrific crime and the need to do a thorough and complete investigation. As a result, I recognize many of you may have questions that I cannot answer at this time. I ask for you to keep the victims in your mind and respect their right to a thorough investigation. I also will not be taking questions at the conclusion of this press conference, but your pre-submitted questions serve as the basis for updates that we're providing for you this afternoon. If your question is not answered, it is due to an ongoing investigation. Okay. We know a document has been widely shared on social media. At this time, we cannot verify its authenticity. We have detectives working today to determine
Yeah, we know
whether
it's
this
true.
document.
I don't know if you guys have seen the document he's talking about. It's sort of like the manifesto or whatever you say. It's like a note the girl wrote, a 15-year-old saying that, man patriarchy or whatever should be stopped and all men should be basically destroyed. That's what she said. But he's saying like it's cap. She didn't say that. But I mean, look, it's true.
Originated and who actually shared it online. At this time, we cannot verify the document. We ask that you not share the document or spread any information that may be false. Our department will provide an update on this document when we can. There are always signs of a school shooting before it occurs. Some of you have reached out about Rupnow's social media activity prior to yesterday's shooting. We're looking into her online activity. We're asking anyone who knew her or who may have insights into her feelings leading up to yesterday to please contact the Madison Area Crime Stoppers. Again, anyone who may have known her or knew what she was feeling or going through at that time, please direct those inquiries to Madison Area Crime Stoppers. That number is 608-266-6014 or at P3 Tips. P3 Tips. We will not be releasing specifics about these social media accounts at this time. Identifying a motive is our top priority, but at this time it appears that the motive was a combination of factors. Again, we cannot share that information at this time because we do not want to jeopardize the investigation and those who are currently cooperating with us. All patient status remain unchanged. The 911 calls are the record of the 911 Communications Center, and their standing operating procedure is not to release documents in open and active investigations. Again, we are working to authenticate the documents that you see online that some are referring to as a manifesto. And as soon as we do that, we will let you know. Now, the process for doing that is looking at original documents that may have been taken from the suspect's home, looking at information that may be on laptops or on computer to determine if this document originated from our suspect. Any disciplinary records would be under the purview of the school. Some of you have asked whether or not she was troubled or whether or not she was troubled at school. We do not have those records. We are not the proprietor of those. On the question of bullying, we're talking to students to understand whether bullying was one of those multiple factors that I mentioned earlier. Some have asked if people were specifically targeted. Everyone was targeted in this incident, and everyone was put in equal danger. Today, numerous MMSD schools were targeted by false threats, often known as swatting. We're working closely with the Madison Metropolitan School District to determine where these originated and to investigate this call. We do not believe that there are any current threats to any Madison area schools, and will continue to investigate these calls and any threats of violence as they come in. Let me be clear on this point. Making false threats is a crime, and we are working with the district attorneys to prosecute these crimes as information is gathered. And if we have to do that, we certainly will. I encourage all parents, all family members to talk to your loved ones about this. We will determine where they originated. We'll use federal partners if we have to and levy those charges as well. As we continue to investigate what happened yesterday, we're keeping the victims and their families in the front of our minds. We want to thank the countless people and organizations who've reached out to support them, as well as the Dane County Victim Witness Unit and the Dane County Emergency Management, who provided direct support to the families. To the Abundant Life Christian Academy, this is a hurting and haunting situation, and the many survivors will need our continued support, and we pledge to give them that in the days, months, and even years ahead. As a community, we must not allow violence or any act of violence to define us. We refuse to allow hate or destruction to win in this city, but rather we will honor our survivors, our victims through love, support, and the Madison way. Please continue to take care of yourself and take care of each other. At this time, we have several officers who are working today, who was working yesterday. They were given the opportunity to stay home, what we commonly refer to as an administrative day. They were offered peer support, emergency assistance program through our city. Those officers chose to come to work today to serve their community. So at the end of my remarks, I'm going to find each and every one of them, personally shake their hand, and thank them on behalf of a grateful city, and a grateful administration, and a grateful department and profession for their act of selfless public service. Thank you.
This right here ain't it, man. It ain't it. Like, come on, man. We got to do better with our kids. Same thing goes for the government. The government has to do better with, gun laws or whatever. But mental health is a major situation in this country. Major situation. So, man, we gotta come together, spread love. And you just never know what people are going through in life. People are going through a lot of BS. And this is just sad. I'm not even gonna keep playing this right here because way too sad. Too sad, y'all. Too sad. But it's sad to see a 15-year-old girl, come out and do something like this. What has she gone through in her mind? Where do you think her mind was? She was far gone for her to come out and do something like this. This is beyond comprehension, man. A 15-year-old child must have been devastated to do something like this. This isn't something that just happens to you. It takes a while and it takes a toll on you. So I just want to say, man, spread love regardless of what you're going through. Spread love. Spread love, man. You never know. Just be kind. Life is hard, but just try to spread love. Life is so freaking hard. But just spread love. It ain't easy, man, but spread love. Okay, with that being said, check this out. Check this out. Shout out to Zyro, man. You know what time it is. Yeah, everybody in the chat. God bless you. Kamala is back, guys. Kamala is definitely back. She ain't gonna go. She ain't leaving. She said, I am not leaving. Okay, she's back. She back, y'all. Where she at? Kamala is back, y'all.
Everyone, have a seat, please.
All right, here we go.
Good morning.
Here we go. Here we go, guys.
Oh, I just love seeing all of our young leaders. When I look out at all of you, I know and I feel so strongly the future of our country is bright. It is bright because of all of you. And I want to thank Lauren for her kind words and her commitment to your community, Lauren, and for the example you are setting. It is so good to see all of you. So, well, you know what? So let me start with just what has happened actually yesterday before I begin my other comments about the horrific shooting yesterday in Madison, Wisconsin. Of course, it's another school shooting. Another community being torn apart by gun violence. And of course, our nation mourns for those who were killed, and we pray for the recovery of those who were injured and for the entire community. But look, as we hold our loved ones close this holiday season, we as a nation must renew our commitment to end the horror of gun violence, both mass shootings and everyday gun violence that touches so many communities in our nation. We must end it, and we must be committed to have the courage to know that solutions are in hand, but we need elected leaders to have the courage to step up and do the right thing.
You are the current Vice President of the United States. Sit your ass down.
So with that, I will return to the reason we are here today. And I first want to thank all of the incredible leaders who are with us, including Governor Moore, my dear friend, your extraordinary Lieutenant Governor Miller, and someone I have worked with and known for so many years, your Senator-elect, also Brooks. And to all the young leaders who are here, I thank you for your service to the people of Maryland. Because look, each one of you has decided to dedicate yourself to the work of service, the work of lifting up the condition of other people, people who often you may never meet. The work you do in service will affect people who for the most part will never know your names. But their lives, because of your work and your dedication, will forever be touched in a positive way. You know, I do believe that public service is a noble calling. It is noble work. And it is an expression of optimism.
Okay, here we go.
Which is, you know and believe, and it is being verified to each of you every day, that the work you do that can lift people up has effect. It matters. Your work is about the optimism that comes with knowing that one individual can make a difference in the lives of so many people. And God knows when you have a whole group like this doing it together, the impact you have on our nation and by extension the world. So today I came by to express my gratitude for the work you, like so many across our nation, have been doing to lift up our fellow American. And I am here to reaffirm our shared commitment to the work ahead. You know, over the past several weeks, since the election, I have received tens of thousands of letters from people across our nation, many of them young leaders, Americans from every walk of life, people of every age, race, faith, and political party. These letters share a common theme. Yes, there is disappointment, but there is also resolve for the future. One letter in particular stands out, which I'll share with you. A young woman named Sasha writes, quote, "There is nothing in the world that will take away my drive, energy, passion, and the destiny that I have to help the people of our country." And I think any one of you, as Sasha, could be, right? Nothing's going to take away that drive, that passion, that energy, that commitment. So Sasha, like all of you, inspire me. Young people who are rightly impatient for change. I love that about you. Impatient.
Nobody cares, Kamala. Nobody. This is the thing, man. Nobody cares, okay? Nobody cares about right in time for change. You are the current vice president of the United States. Like, I am tired of, and the people, okay? The people are tired of politicians coming out and pandering, okay? Pandering to people. Bunch of BS. Absolutely bunch of BS. Coming out and saying, I know you are right in time for change. Why are you the vice president of the United States? If you cannot come out here, like, quit talking, okay? Get to work. But of course, you didn't do nothing for 4 years. So what was I thinking?
For change, who will not let anyone or any circumstance defeat your spirit or your sense of purpose.
And nobody cares. Yeah, nobody cares.
You will not allow your spirit.
No, nobody cares.
Or your sense of purpose to be defeated. You who have, I think, by your actions adopted some advice my mother gave me a long time ago. She would say to me, Kamala, don't just complain about what is wrong, do something
about it. You ain't done nothing though. You are not doing anything. You're not doing nothing with your face going. You're not. Okay? And that's it. You are not doing nothing against it. So we cannot wait for you to get out of that position next year, January 20, because you've really wasted time.
Make it right. That's a life you all are living. You reflect the best of the America I have seen, be it during the campaign, during my 4 years as vice president, and throughout my life.
Okay.
An America where we recognize that we are all in this together.
Oh, God.
That no matter our background, we share the same dreams, aspirations, and ambitions for ourselves and our family. That we all have so much more in common than what separates us. That is our knowledge. An America where we are guided by the ideals that have always defined us when we are at our best. Dignity and decency.
Okay, here we go.
Fairness.
All right.
Freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And opportunity for all.
Mm-hmm.
An America where we recognize that the true measure of the strength of a leader is not based on who you beat down, it's based on who you lift up.
Bunch of shit. Bunch of shit.
And the story of America's progress, you all know history. The story of America's progress, when we have made progress, in many ways is the story of people who stayed true to their ideals, even in the face of difficulty. The story of Americans who, yes, faced disappointment, but did not grow weary. Did not grow weary. Who faced setbacks, but did not give up. People who refused to let the light of America's promise dim or burn out in moments of challenge. The movements for civil rights, women's rights, workers' rights, the United States of America itself would never have come to be if people had given up their cause after a court case or a battle or an election did not go their way. What Sasha wrote and what we here know is that in moments like this, the true test of our character is how resilient and persistent we are to pursue the future that we all can see. The true test of our commitment is whether, in the face of an obstacle, do we throw up our hands or do we roll up our sleeves? And as we approach, and as we then approach the end of this year, many people have come up to me telling me they feel tired, maybe even resigned. Folks who have said to me that they're not sure whether they have the strength, much less the desire, to stay in the fight. But let me be very clear. No one can walk away. No one can walk away. We must stay in the fight. Every one of us, including the fight for an economy that works, not just for those at the top, but for working people, for all Americans. The fight to make sure everyone has a fair shot to pursue their ambitions. The fight for our ideals, including the equality among us, the freedoms to which we are entitled, the dignity that we possess and is possessed by every one of us. So we must stay in the fight, because that is the responsibility, in my opinion, that comes with the privilege of being an American. And that responsibility has always then fueled the American experiment. In our country, you see, the recognition that we are all created equal with certain fundamental rights and freedoms, the belief that here in our country anything is possible, the promise of America itself is a powerful yet fragile idea. Powerful because it has inspired billions of people and made it possible for us to become the strongest, most prosperous nation in the world. Yet fragile, because that idea is only as strong as our willingness to fight for it. Only as strong as our faith that we, the people, are the ones who make it real. So I will say this as we close out this year. I ask of you this.
Here we go.
That those here and anyone watching, that you will not walk away.
We already did.
That you will stay true
Nope.
to your spirit
Nope.
and your sense of purpose.
Nope.
That you will continue to fight
Nope.
for the promise of America.
Actually, no, with you.
And I ask you to remember the context in which you exist. Yeah, I did that.
Oh, shoot. Oh, she's so drunk, bro. There is no way. Yo, there is no way we're watching this. What? Hey. Yo, bro.
I ask you to remember that this struggle is not new. It goes back nearly 250 years to Lexington and Concord. Generation after generation, it has been driven by those who love our country, cherish its ideals, and refuse to sit passive while our ideals are under assault. And now this fight to keep the light of America's promise and to ensure it burns bright, well, this fight now, it continues with you. You are its heirs. We are its heirs. So I'll end with this. Get some rest over the holidays. Spend time with the people you love. You know, I believe family comes in many forms. There's family by blood and there's family by love. I urge you then, after you have had some rest, in fact, I challenge you.
There we go.
To come back ready.
For what?
Ready to chart our path to the future.
That you ain't
Chin
part
up,
of.
Shoulders back. Forever impatient for change.
Oh, girl. Please go.
And like Sasha,
Please go.
ready to summon
No, no, no.
your drive,
No, no, no.
your energy, your passion
No, we ain't doing that.
to help our fellow Americans.
No, bye.
And be ready to get back to work.
Girl, bye.
Fighting for opportunity and freedom.
Girl, bye.
Fighting for fairness and dignity.
And
fighting for this country
now with
we
you.
love.
Yeah, we
and
do love the country.
future we share.
That you
God
ain't part
bless
of.
you, and God bless the United States
And
of
bye.
America.
Bye. Bye, Cam. Bye, Kamala. Yeah, you ain't finna come back here spending $1 billion and you ain't won nothing. Yeah. Bye.
More than $135,000
Now, Luigi
has been raised for
Mangione.
Luigi Mangioni's legal defense.
Thank you for tuning into the live show. You know what time it is. It is your boy Genesis. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Chat. Put it in the chat. You enjoying the show or not? Okay. Luigi Mangione. Man, this man raising a lot of money. Defense fund set up for suspect raises more than $135,000. Wait. $135,000, man. Nuno, shout out to Nuno from UK. Look, Luigi Mangione is raising $135,000. Yeah, man. This is wow. This is way too wow. This man literally killed someone, and he's getting supporters, and they're literally supporting him. They've raised over $135,000. Yeah.
Fund. It's a crowdfunding effort started by a group called the December 4th Legal Committee. Their total fundraising goal as of now, $500,000, and they just might get there. The organizers, alluding to the date United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was gunned down on the streets of Manhattan. But they say it's not about the violence from that day. They write, this is a preemptive legal fundraiser for the suspect allegedly involved in the shooting of United Healthcare CEO. We are not here to celebrate violence, but we do believe in the constitutional right of fair legal representation, unquote. But as for the people donating, well, some of them are full on celebrating Mangione's actions, and the donations are coming in at all sorts of amounts, from the highest at $1,300, some as low as $5. One person writes under their $10 donation, I'm quoting here, "The shot heard around the nation. We cannot let it be in vain. You made the first stand. Thank you." Another person donated $500 writing this, "I hope this entire event leads to a rethinking of the wealthy people running this country. Health insurance has been a scam for far too long, and it needs to change. Stop talking about it and do something." Well, I want to bring in Sam Beard. He is the spokesperson for the December 4th Legal Committee and the host of Party Girls podcast. Sam, thank you for joining this evening. How many donations have you received this far? And are you surprised to see the level of support for someone who is a murder suspect?
Laura, thank you for having me on and for covering this important topic. So far we have received over 4,700 individual donations, averaging about, it seems, $15 or so at the median there. And to be honest, I'm really not that surprised that all of this widespread support has sort of risen up in this moment for this young man alleged to have taken action in this way. I think Americans are fed up with the way that the health insurance system operates.
When you think about the you said, taken action in this way. He is accused of having committed murder. You've gotten people who've donated to the fund who are embracing and celebrating that murder of this man, Brian Thompson. What do you say to your critics who think this fundraiser is co-signing that murder?
Well, at the end of the day, every American has a right to a fair trial. And I think for every person who might be, exhibiting some sense of joy, there are 10 people sort of asking the question, well, who's the real murderer in this conversation? We're talking about the largest and most successful private health insurance corporation in the history of humankind, right? Which is successful precisely because they generate profits by denying claims, among other things. Just to quote one donor here directly, quote, "We do not condone murder. And for that reason, we cannot condone the actions of United Healthcare. Luigi was standing up to a systematized murder of millions of Americans at the hands of a broken healthcare system."
Huh?
When you hear that, of course, first of all, I'm a former prosecutor. Everyone deserves a proper legal defense. And frankly, he is presumed innocent at this point in time. They have a burden of proof that they have to carry out. But when there seems to be the equivalence drawn between gunning somebody down in the streets, and again, he is presumed innocent, but somebody gunning him down in the streets, and then the idea of a health insurance company behaving in the way that has led to, you believe, the deaths of people as well, are you concerned that that sort of equivalence is going to instigate further harm?
Yeah, that's a good question. As a moral matter, it's horrible when anybody has their life cut short by another person, especially when it could have been prevented, right? But that same logic has to apply both ways. A CEO had his life short, a world-renowned CEO for being very effective in his field, mind you, but he was effective because he profited from denying people's claims, which cut their lives short. So we can't just apply a simple moral rule without
What is
acknowledging
going
that
on
we're
here?
in an immoral system that degrades the value of some lives while elevating the value of others. And I think what's sort of plain as day at this point is challenging that is, above all, a political act. And when we treat it only as a moral act, I think we're plugging our ears to its political meaning.
I certainly hear the political consequences and conversations that are going on. This will be dealt with in the criminal court system. So the idea of how it will be addressed will be quite distinct from that overall conversation. I'm learning, though, that one of Mangioni's lawyers told my network that he would not accept the money. So what will your group do with it?
So I'm wondering if that's the conversation that happened about a week ago. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, we are far gone, man. I ain't gonna cap. We are far gone. What is this? What am I watching? This wait. What is going on here, man? Am I watching the same thing y'all are watching, or this ain't? I mean, I don't know. So wait, wait, because
Been a recent development that you think he will take the money?
No, but there's been a recent development in terms of sort of an expanded legal team. So I would imagine there's different decision makers in that process. And we have yet to establish two-way communication with their newest legal team. We have contacted them via telephone, email, and good old-fashioned snail mail.
Well, we'll see what happens. Thank you so much for joining us, Sam Beard.
Thank you.
yeah, Sam Beard, I ain't gonna cap. Sam Beard has something going on. He has no beard, but he has something going on. Like, what is going on here? Luigi is becoming a legend, everybody. He is becoming a legend, and everybody wants to support him, sending money to this guy, and it's saying, yo, you guys are going to have to take this money, okay? Because what? Luigi has to walk, according to, I mean, this is what they want.
Well, Mangione is expected to be in court next week. We're not exactly sure how his lawyers plan on defending him specifically, but we are getting some clues. I want to bring in Charles Patrick Ewing. He is a board-certified forensic psychologist and a distinguished service professor and professor of law emeritus at SUNY Buffalo. Also here with me, Joey Jackson, is senior legal analyst and defense attorney. Glad to have both of you here. Joey, let me begin with you. Can you first quickly explain to us why Mangione has a second-degree murder charge as opposed to a first-degree charge in New York?
Yeah, Laura, good to be with you. So what happens is that in New York State, first-degree murder is reserved for the killing of a police officer, a peace officer, a judge, a correction officer, a first responder. You don't generally get first-degree murder unless it pertains to one of those issues. The only other conceivable way that it could be first-degree is if it's in furtherance of some act of terrorism, which could be a viable charge, depending upon, of course, what authorities continue to find with respect to that is Luigi Mangione's state of mind, mindset as it relates to the actual crime. Murder in the second degree, however, is preserved for everything else, and that is intentional murder. And so generally people who are charged in New York State with murder are charged with murder in the second degree, absent one of those delineated consequences or actions that I noted before.
Really important to get that distinction. Thanks, Joey. Let me turn to you, Charles. We're getting some hints as to what Mangione's defense could possibly look like. A former CNN contributor, Karen Agnifilo, just signed on to represent him. A few days earlier, here's what she told CNN.
And so it'll be interesting, it'll be interesting to see where the opportunities are for him to defend himself. And it's looking more and more like I think he could potentially mount a psychiatric defense. And I think what Marianne was just saying is exactly right, because was he playing to the cameras versus is he having some sort of psychiatric event happening right as we speak, and are we watching it in real time on TV? That those are some of the things that will come into play, I think, in this case.
Charles, how hard is it to get this kind of insanity plea or an extreme emotional disturbance plea, if he gets offered a plea at all, to have this line of thinking?
Well, it's extremely difficult to make out an insanity defense, especially in New York State. In New York State, the burden of proof is on the defendant to prove, first of all, that he was suffering from a mental illness or from a mental defect, as the law says, which would be the equivalent of an intellectual disability. That's just the beginning. Once you have that, then you have to establish to the jury's satisfaction that you either did not know the nature and consequences of your acts, or you did not know that your acts were wrong. That's a tough sell. About maybe somewhere less than 1% of all criminal cases that go to trial with an insanity plea. And among those cases,
I want to hear that point. But go ahead, Charles. Excuse me.
Yeah, they almost never result in a finding of insanity. It's so difficult to get that finding from a jury. And without speaking to the merits of this case in particular, because I don't want to do that, but I will say that it's a virtual certainty that his lawyer will consider an insanity defense and will have him examined by a forensic psychologist or psychiatrist, maybe even more. But given what we know from what is currently in the public domain, it will be an extremely difficult case to get a judgment of insanity.
There you have it. This guy ain't playing around. Well, what can I say? Too many chaotic news. 2024. Too many chaotic news. There's too many chaotic news, man. Now, look, there's this case in Long Island where a serial killer suspect has been charged with 7th murder. His name is Gilgo Beach. Gilgo Beach suspect charged with ADDL, death of a woman. It's just way too many news going on this time, man. Too many news going on. What is going on right here, man?
All right. Well, thanks everyone for coming, and good morning. As we all know by now, today my office filed a superseding indictment charging the defendant Yurman with a 7th charged murder in the 2nd degree for the murder of Valerie Mack, which occurred in 2000. I remind everyone that all of these cases and all of these murders are just allegations, and we look forward to proving them in court. As I've previously stated, the work of the Gilgo Task Force is ongoing and continuing. And when I said that, I meant what I said. The defendant is now charged with the murder of 7 young women. Sandra Castilla from 1993, Valerie Mack from 2000, Jessica Taylor from 2003, Maureen Brainerd Barnes from 2007, Melissa Bartholomew from 2009, Megan Waterman from 2010 in June, and Amber Costello from September of 2010. Again, they occurred between 1993 and 2010. We are here because the Gilgo Task Force has continued to work together to obtain not only evidence for the charged crimes, but has continued to work on other uncharged crimes as well. And I am grateful for the great work that the Gilgo Task Force has done. Of course, not only my office and my team, but the other agencies who have worked with us. And we're gonna talk about that in a while. As you've also probably noticed, here with us today are the victims' family members. I think pretty much every charged victim, their family members are here. Specifically, we're joined by Joanne and Edwin Mack, who are the parents of Valerie Mack. Through the grand jury process, we get to learn a little bit about our victims, and we did that through the Mack family. And Valerie is very similar to the other victims in this case, extraordinary person. The family are extraordinary people, and we are honored to prosecute this case for Valerie and her family, or on behalf of Valerie and her family. And again, I think the Mack family is emblematic of the other families in this case who have steadfastly stood by their loved ones and jealously guarded their memories.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is just wow. Thank you for tuning into the live show. A lot of BS going on this end of the year, and it's just sad to see 2024 as being that year that you would say, Lord Jesus, we would not want to live this year again. But it is what it is. Anyway, thank you for tuning into the live show one more time. Eric Adams may be getting a pardon from the OG. Looks like he may be getting a pardon.
Chicago voter and resident P. Ray Easley. P. Ray, it's always a pleasure to have you on. So what is happening right now in this Chicago City Council meeting? Because the Chicago Democrat Socialist Mayor is double.
Did I say Chicago mayor? No, I mean New York's mayor, Eric Adams. But of course, Chicago mayor right here, he may be fired.
Down, trying to blame Trump.
This is actually a wonderful day. I just left City Hall, and as your previous guest just stated, the city is against him. The progressives are lining up one after another saying that we cannot support this this budget because of the lack of transparency. So his actions are actually making the people who are with him go against him. And it all works out for the good of Chicago Red, because our goal is to defund the illegals. So if they don't pass this budget, then the illegals are going to be defunded, and we're going to help Tom Holman do what Agenda 47 put out to do, and that's to make sure that our city is safe once again.
So is there any chance the Chicago Democrat Socialist mayor will go? Because we've got criminal illegal alien gangs crossing. We've got Border Patrol Chief Jason Owens tweeting that more than 10,000 special interest illegal aliens were caught crossing from countries with known ties to terrorism. Just in the first 2.5 months of this fiscal year, I mean, Biden collapsed the border just a generation after 9/11, and people like you in Chicago are paying for it.
You know, the border is in Texas, but the border is also here on the west side of Chicago. This is where they are coming. We are the headquarters for the Mexican cartel right here in the city of Chicago. A lot of times people look at this as a move against them busing people here, but we've been dealing with the fallout of the cartel being here for years now. And now we are actually dealing with a drug epidemic amongst our teenagers because they are dying from taking opioids laced with fentanyl, and these are the people who are bringing it in. So it's much deeper than the taxes. We're definitely looking at the safety and security and futures of our children, because they're literally poisoning them through the drugs and the diseases that they're spreading through the Chicago public schools.
Sounds like
American children deserve much better than what the mayor is giving us, and I can assure you that he's going to change his tune, or he's going to have to leave us alone.
Interesting
so
news.
Hopefully he'll do better in the future.
Let's recap at the top of the segment. Liberal voters and residents are now turning against Chicago's Democrat Socialist mayor for basically prioritizing illegal aliens over citizens. Thank you, P. Ray Easley. Good to see you. Merry Christmas.
Thank you for tuning in, guys. You guys are saying, well, if this guy is being tried by a jury in court, if he's being tried by a jury of his peers, I'm talking about Luigi now. Let's go to Luigi right here. You think they're going to find this guy?
So Manhattan.
You think they're going to find this guy guilty? If he's been tried by a jury of his peers, but of course he's never going to be charged by a jury. I mean, it's just what it is. But if he's being tried by a jury of his peers that are getting butt hurt by the fact that they're feeling like insurance companies are scamming them, you better know he's not going to get indicted. But I don't think he's going to be charged by a jury of his peers or judged by a jury of his peers. I don't know. But I'm telling you, man, it's weird times.
DA Alvin Bragg and NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch they're speaking right now after announcing the indictment of Luigi Mangione for the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Let's hear what they have to say.
That a life was lost. We are here to announce that Luigi Mangione, the defendant, is charged with 1 count of murder in the first degree and 2 counts of murder in the second degree, including 1 count of murder in the second degree as an act of terrorism for the brazen, targeted, and premeditated shooting of Brian Thompson, who, as you know, was the CEO of United Healthcare. This case was made possible by the collaborative efforts of the phenomenal public servants you see before you today, and so many others who are not here. I'm honored to lead the Manhattan District Attorney's Office and privileged to serve alongside Assistant District Attorneys Joel Seidman, Kristen Bailey, and Zachary Kaplan, who were working from the outset, hand in hand with the greatest police department in the world. The chief of our trial division, Lisa Del Pizzo, and the deputy chief, Chris Prevost, provided sage oversight and direction. And I want to acknowledge our high technology analysis unit. There was a lot to be processed here. Steve Moran, in particular, who heads that, and Marco Popic. We are privileged here at the DA's office to work every day with the phenomenal public servants at the NYPD. It has been a distinct pleasure to work besides Commissioner Tisch, an exemplary partner, and Chief of Detectives Joseph Kinney, almost every day we're in touch, and his leadership is second to none. And then Deputy Commissioner Rebecca Weiner, who, as I tell her, there are a lot of challenging things happening in the world, and I sleep better at night knowing that she is the Deputy Commissioner in charge of terrorism. The detectives on this, out doing the courageous frontline work, Detective Oscar Diaz, Detective Curcio, exemplary, the finest. It wasn't just those of us here in New York. I want to acknowledge the great work of our partners in Altoona, the Altoona Police Department, the Blair County District Attorney's Office, the governors of New York and Pennsylvania, the FBI, and of course, the brave members of the public who answered the call when our great commissioner put out the call for their assistance. This was a frightening, well-planned, targeted murder that was intended to cause shock and attention and intimidation. It occurred in one of the most bustling parts of our city, threatening the safety of local residents and tourists alike, commuters and business people just starting out on their day. Let me say a bit more about the charges. They include 1 count of murder in the first degree as a killing in furtherance of terrorism, 2 counts of murder in the second degree, 1 charging that the killing was done as an act of terrorism, and the second pertaining to the fact that the killing was intentional. The maximum penalty possible for murder in the first degree and murder in the second degree as an act of terrorism is life without parole. The maximum penalty for murder in the second degree.
Man, too many BS going on here, man. Look, I get it. Luigi, he messed up. His family's definitely going wild right now. Like, why would you do something like that? But I don't even want to hear about that case anymore. All right, let's go to the drone situation. Ross says,
Senator,
how
good to
about the
see
drone
you. Thank you so
situation?
much
Here you
for
go.
being here.
Maria, nobody trusts them. I mean, the public does not trust DOD, Homeland Security, FBI to give us accurate information. Remember, they didn't tell us about the Chinese spy balloon that was flying across the country until an amateur found it. So the American public is completely they don't trust these agencies at all. And so, and by the way, I've been up here 6 years. And I'm a business guy. If somebody came in and didn't give me information in my company, I would fire them. The federal government does it every day to U.S. senators. They come in, they say stuff, and you know is pure BS, or they omit the information. So the American public has completely lost trust.
Well, that's
so we
very
have
difficult.
No idea what's going on.
I mean, how do you operate in an environment where you can't even trust the people in the administration and the government agencies to tell you the truth? That's why you wrote on X. You posted this. Why can't the federal government tell us where these drones are from? The lack of transparency is exactly why Americans don't trust our federal government, not to mention if these are the same Chinese drones I fought to ban from our military, they're a national security threat. We need answers now. Senator, good post, but I got to ask you about something that just happened in the last segment. I'm not sure if you saw my interview with Ellen Lord, who is a defense technology expert, and she said to me that back in 2018, the military stopped buying drones from DJI and that the military does not use drones made by China. Now, I've heard the complete opposite from lawmakers, that, in fact, we do still use drones from China. You're on the Armed Services Committee. Tell me, are we using drones from DJI?
I believe our Department of Defense is still using drones from China, DJI. I came up here 6 years ago. The first thing I did is try to get rid of all the Chinese drones. It took me 2 years. The military fought me to say, and my bill just said, we're not going to buy anymore, right? Then it took me 4 years to say the federal government won't buy anymore. And then this year, in this NDA, which hopefully will pass tonight, it'll say within a year there will be no new licensures of Chinese drones. Now, I think we ought to just ban them. I mean, we should never allow a Chinese drone in this country. They want to surveil us. But I'm fighting every day to get this done. And chip by chip, we're getting it done. But do I believe the military is still using Chinese drones? Absolutely. They have fought us every step of the way to try to prevent these things
I'd like to know what she's talking about. Then she just came on the show right before you
And she told me that, in fact, the military is no longer using drones acquired from DJI. This is really important. We need to know why we would be buying drones from China, our #1 adversary. You say we still are. She says we're not. You're an elected official. You would know if we're using drones from DJI. You're on the Armed Services Committee. Do you believe
it's against
that,
the law?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maria, it's against the law for a military to buy, not to use, to buy Chinese drones, all right? It's against our federal government to buy Chinese drones. Within a year, it'll be against our laws for any new Chinese drones to be licensed by the FAA, FCC, FAA. So that's what the law is now. Do I believe the federal government is still using Chinese drones? Absolutely. They haven't just gotten rid of them. So I don't get it. This stuff is easy. Like, why are we buying Chinese drugs for our military? Why are we relying on China for anything? Why would an American citizen buy anything made in China, but especially our military? It doesn't make any sense to me. It's a fight every day.
And that's the question that I asked. That's exactly what I've been asking. And she said in my last segment, we don't. So you say we still do. And you also say that there are drones that are still embedded in our infrastructure that are made from DJI. So we're still using them, even if we're not buying new ones.
Yeah. So it is. It's against the law for them to buy new ones. But do I believe they're still doing it? Absolutely. But I don't get why. It's our adversary. They've decided they want to destroy our way of life. The Chinese government is despicable. There's nothing good about
this question needs to be answered. You say we are doing it, and we want to know why. We're going to keep on this story, but I got to ask you about the agenda as well. We're a month away from President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration. The House and Senate at odds over the best way to enact his agenda. Heading into 25, congressional leadership considering 2 reconciliation packages next year. A bill on the border first to pass within the first 100 days. They claim you want to get a win on the board. Fine. And then the extension of the tax cuts later on in the year. A lot of people are against this. You heard what Newt Gingrich said. If you blow this, you're going to miss, and you are going to affect your midterm elections. Are you going to be able to extend these tax cuts as you've promised?
I believe we're going to secure the border. I believe we're going to extend the tax cuts. Now, there's going to be a lot of other fights to add things in it. As you know, Trump has some new tax reductions he wants to get done. But I think it's very important. The #1 issue in the campaign was secure this border. So I think right now, the first thing we ought to be doing is, as soon as we get sworn in January 3rd, let's immediately let's get the bill passed that's going to secure the border. We need more Border Patrol agents. We need more ICE agents. We need more wall. We need more technology.
Well, look, I mean, Newt Gingrich says you've got to have this passed into law by July 4th in order to ensure that the economy is impacted and you can get reelected. I'm talking about the Republicans. Do you think that's possible by July 4th?
Absolutely. No, it'll be done. I think the way it's going to happen is we're going to quickly get the border one done, and then we'll extend the tax cuts, hopefully even before what Newt's talking about. Hopefully we can get it done within a few months.
What about the nominees, President Trump's nominees on Capitol Hill? RFK Jr. on Capitol Hill this week, trying to gain GOP support to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. Is expected to be pressed on his views on vaccines. Senator, you met with RFK Jr. yesterday. What was your takeaway?
Very impressive. I mean, here's a guy that wants to focus on health. It's called Health and Human Services. Health, not sickness. So he wants to make us healthy. It's exactly what we ought to do. I ran the biggest hospital company. I know we've got to figure out how to get people healthy, and that's what he's going to do. I think he's going to do a great job with regard to vaccines. If you listen to what he says, he is pro-vaccine. What he wants is give you information so you can decide what you put into your body or your child's body. Yeah. That makes all the sense in the world to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
More information.
Senator, it's great to see you.
RFK for sure. HHS. And people are saying that, well, the people in Congress are saying that our dear Wonder Woman may be compromised. Tulsi Gabbard. This is just on another level.
So, who's doing that? Dan, you want to do that? You want to go to Fetterman? Yeah, someone needs to stay on Fetterman. Yeah, and then maybe you can do.
Did that guy just fart?
Hey, Senator, how you doing? Doing well.
Good. You desperate for someone?
Well, I was waiting for another senator, but I saw you. But you're Tulsi Gabbard. Do you have any concerns about? I know you've known her for a very long time. Syria, her meeting with Bashar al-Assad, and any of her national security views like that. Does that concern you at all?
I have deep concerns about the fact that she might be compromised. I mean, it was Russian-controlled media that called her a Russian asset. I also think she's not qualified for the position. She's not really done anything in the intelligence world, so I don't know that that's the right person
Whoa.
to run our nation's intelligence agencies.
Have you met? Do you have any plans to meet with her?
No, I do not.
And then what about RFK Jr.? You know, he came out and he's been saying that he will, he's been telling Republican senators he does not support revoking the polio vaccine. Does that go far enough for you?
No, not at all. I can't believe we're even having a discussion about whether or not we should revoke the polio vaccine. He is an anti-vaxxer. We know from the first Trump administration that, it's really important to support public health. And this is an administration that told people to inject Clorox and inject bleach into their systems. I don't think that he's qualified for the position.
And then just more broadly, do you think Democrats they've not been making a lot of noise and stink about these Trump nominees? Should they be more vocal in their opposition now?
I've been making a lot of noise about it.
I mean, I remember the leadership saying a lot.
Yeah, I think that, it's important. Right now, we're focused on getting folks across some of the legislation across the finish line, especially bipartisan legislation like the CR and the NDAA. And I think once you see that done, we'll come back next year and we'll get into that process. I mean, they've not been formally nominated yet, but we'll get into that. But we do have some serious concerns about some of these nominees, and I think certainly I've been talking about the DOD nominee, about Tulsi Gabbard as well. We need people qualified for the positions. But I'm going to also talk to folks that I think are qualified, and I think my colleague Marco Rubio is very qualified to head state, and look forward to chatting with him about his nomination.
Okay, appreciate the time.
No worries.
Thanks.
Oh, I thought she was sitting down.
For the positions. But I'm going to also talk to folks that I think are qualified.
Oh, she is sitting
I
down.
think my colleague Marco Rubio is very qualified to head state, and look forward to chatting with him about his nomination.
Okay, appreciate the time.
No worries.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Oh yeah. Okay. I didn't see it right. Okay, well. Thank you guys for tuning in to the live show. You know what time it is. It is your boy Genesis. I will be back. Okay, I will be back. Yeah, I will be back. Instead of looking for perfection, seek for consistency. Never give up on yourself. Never give up on your dreams. Never give up on God. Believe in yourself. Believe in your dreams. And believe in God, okay? Thank you for tuning in. And, yeah, man. I love you guys. We will be